All right. See, that's what happens when we don't have Matt at the helm here, and all the automation is set to go to Matt after the timer. So, I am not Matt Martin. He is on his way home. He's running a little late here. But we are still joined tonight by Justin Meggers. He is previously from Hawaii. He's now living in Florida. And he actually has met Greendoc in person. Here is Justin.
Hello, everybody.
So, Justin, you just moved to Hawaii, or you just moved from Hawaii to Florida. Tell us about yourself.
All right, so I'm Justin. I grew up in Iowa. Joined the Army. Went to Germany, went to Afghanistan a couple times. Came back to Iowa. Married my wife. Been there for 4 years. Then she got put on orders in the Army. We went down to Texas for a little bit. Then moved on to Hawaii. And now we are here.
Awesome. And while you were in Hawaii, I showed up, messed up your lawn, and then told you to make sure that it kept working.
Left me to die.
Yes. But luckily, you had a local resource in the form of Ray.
Yes, so I did. So
Ray actually has bailed you out a couple times, right?
He has. Cheat code himself.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, those were the days, and I gotta tell you, it's really sinking in that he's no longer 10 minutes away, because highlight was, let's see, John played Yard Crashers, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of all of that, I found out how good Justin is at smoking ribs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then after that, he also got introduced to, I guess, the downsides of having the super green lawn here in Hawaii, because I did have to do a little bit of a give Justin the cheat code, because even St. Augustine is not all that wonderful here, because it gets something called gray leaf spot. especially when it won't stop raining.
Yeah, it does.
Oh yeah. So I'm so by the way, how has your St. Augustine been so far in Florida?
So far, what are we? 6 weeks into freshly laid.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely greened up, rooted awesomely. I can go out there now, and it won't pull up anymore. So we got that going for us. So it's rooted nicely. And we can see kind of in the shaded parts, definitely growing top growth a lot more. The one that gets full
Mm-hmm.
sun, getting there. But so hopefully in a couple weeks it will be mowing here regularly.
And we've got DeMay here joining us now, looking good on camera here. But here's a shot that you sent me of your backyard now, that St.
Yep.
Augustine after a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, that is looking awesome. That is looking awesome.
It is surprising. Nothing's died yet. Still all green. Our investment is looking good so far. Maybe not as level as we want. We should have probably emphasized that a little more. You learn from your
Yeah.
mistakes.
Man, whose fault was that?
That's John's fault from
Yeah,
barging
okay.
in.
All right. Yeah.
Right when they deliver the sod, here comes John. Right on time.
Didn't that get tilled up before it got sodded? I think, John, you said something about that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Someone did till it.
Man.
Ah.
Yeah.
Ah.
It's rooted
Full
now.
send. Full
It
send.
rooted.
It's rooted. Like a boss. It was tough work. I probably will never do that again, but
So we better spray those fungicides to make sure you don't have that gray leaf spot then. This was how many weeks old is this now?
what are we going on 6 weeks now?
Oh, that does look really good then. That looks amazing. What made you what did it look like before? Do we have a before picture?
We have a picture of it after it was tilled, but I don't have something.
I was just curious of like what precipitated, like how bad was it? Like what is this on a 1 to 10, and what was it before on a 1 to 10?
Oh man. Or it was pretty bare. There's patches everywhere, sand. It was ugly.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Okay.
just not even an ounce of care, you could tell.
Oh wow.
Oh, okay. Okay, that is my goodness. All I'd have to say about that is where's the gasoline and a match?
Yeah.
Just torch it all and start over. And I think some people on the Discord caught sight or heard about your lawn here in Hawaii, and I think they also caught sight of what I had to say about it right when John was trying to figure out or decide what to do with it. And my basic answer was bottle of Roundup and some St. Augustine.
Yeah. Here's what Justin inherited in Hawaii on one side. And Justin, how big was this lawn in Hawaii?
That was just 500 square feet.
Just separated with a little sidewalk.
Yeah.
With a little sidewalk.
Nice.
No,
Ugh.
yeah, that was what basically prompted me to say nuke it and plant St. Augustine into it. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, so
I'm glad
I woke up
you two
and
came
went
up
to
with a
Home
game plan.
Depot. I took an Uber to Home Depot and super early, like right as soon as they opened.
Like
I don't
5
even
in the
think-
morning.
Yeah, Justin.
Right when the doors open, John's there. I'm still
Yeah.
sleeping.
Yeah.
I need a ride.
And yep, I messaged Justin and I was like, "Hey, you need to come pick me up from Home Depot." And this was one cart. I think we had 2 carts that were basically like that, but we shoved all that into the little SUV.
Yeah, into Justin's little car and hauled it back home.
Yep. And basically, we didn't even buy 500 square feet of sod because the price was just ridiculous. Like each of those trays was like $10 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we ended up doing, based on Ray's advice, was and Justin, you couldn't dig at all, so we couldn't even like pull plugs and jam plugs into the ground. We had to basically stick it over top of what was there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So we basically cut those up into little plugs and just pounded them down on top of the other and went back and surrounded them with a little bit of stuff. And then I told Justin, good luck, and I left.
Just left.
Yep.
Most people come to Hawaii, you know, have a good time, lay on the beach. Here's John just messing my yard up, killing everything, and then just putting little pieces of grass everywhere. I have no idea what this grass even does or how it grows. I'm just like, I guess that's what's in now. And then he left.
However, yeah. However, here's the thing is that literally, I want to say 3 months after this was done, it was starting to look like a lawn. But that was when my best friend called Gray Leaf Spot was starting to make an appearance, because 2018 was not a good year in many ways, and that, number one, wasn't that the year where it wouldn't stop raining all year long?
Yeah, no, I remember. Well, it was like December, January. It literally rained every day, all day.
Yep. Yeah. Let's see. That's how I remember that year. Rained all the time.
Yeah.
Let's see. I lost my father that year, and you had this new lawn growing in, so this was just like a dumpster fire of a year for all intents and purposes. But the after picture of this lawn is just,
Yeah, it was a different yard. Justin knocked it out of the park. He had, the emergency guidance from Mr. Ray Ito, and he turned it into a completely different piece of 500 square feet lawn.
yeah, that is like almost showpiece St. Augustine. And to me, guys, this is what St. Augustine is supposed to look like. And it is not blue. It is also not scalped down to the dirt, so all the roots and runners are sticking up and pokey looking. And the whole objective here was, we all wanted a lawn such that it would be a place for your little boy and the dogs to be out on.
Yeah.
That was the whole objective.
Yep.
So
Quite the
Yeah,
transformation.
before it was just all those little stickers everywhere, and you couldn't even go out there. Even the dogs.
wasn't that lawn or that yard just like mowed down weeds? It was just disgusting.
I don't think there was even one little strand of grass in that thing.
Yeah, it was just it was just like hideous. So I just and by the way, without proper maintenance, that is literally what every single square inch of ground in Hawaii looks like. It all reverts to that, and it doesn't take long for it to do it. And
so
grass selection is another one.
Justin, so then you got told basically, hey, it's time to leave Hawaii. You weren't really planning on it, right?
No, not really. Not as soon as it happened.
And so, so tell me a little bit because you had to give it a final mow, and something went sideways.
I don't know what you're talking about. Not
Something
me.
about it was scalped. You
Yeah, I
put
put
the hurt on it
one
right
last
before you
little.
left.
All right. So I was out of my comfort zone. I had to borrow the neighbor's mower. Just this janky ass thing. The handles were broke. Pretty sure there was a little duct tape on the one. I thought I raised all of them, but up, what I was used to, up was down and down was up on this one. So yeah, we got into it pretty good right there. I was like, man, this is pushing a little hard. Oh.
Yeah, you should. If you feel that kind of resistance, that's not good.
No, the last mow, dude. You just feel so bad for her. You treat her so good, and then you leave her dirty.
Yeah, she probably came back strong though. I'm sure it was fine.
Oh yeah.
And then here's the final mow that I have for the other side. Looks like you fixed the scalping issue by then, though.
Yeah, no, we had figured out by then. We're good to go on this side.
What's going on in the back corner on this picture by the gate there?
So that was actually, we just put that artificial turf or whatever they buy from Home Depot. We just had my son's place up there.
And so that wasn't even that doesn't even match any of the other St. Aug. That's just completely just random.
Don't worry about
shoved
that.
in there.
I just tried to get something to grow there as fast as possible before I move out. Like $10, just Bermuda from the Lawn and Garden Center.
So
Whatever it takes to pass the inspection.
Leaving Hawaii, all your stuff got shoved into a crate, thrown on a boat, shipped over to Florida, basically. Did you have to leave stuff behind? What did you get to take everything with you? What did you have to sacrifice?
No, we pretty much got everything.
So
No.
have you been
using... yeah. Well, no. We had to sacrifice the blind side. That was the only thing they didn't pack up. Those bastards. $100 bottle of it. Only used it once on this because I was an idiot and didn't know what I was doing when I first began. The weeds were out of control. They took all the other fertilizer somehow. But this one bottle bothered them. I'm like, it would be that bottle.
Yeah, you know why it actually bothered him? Yeah, you know why that bothered him? It's because, for all intents and purposes, Blindside is not intended for use by consumers. I need to kind of put that out there to the listeners on YouTube and on Twitch. Blindside is strictly a commercial professional product. However, I absolutely hate Blindside. It's a lousy product.
Why?
Because it is supposedly a combination of sulfentrazone and metsulfuron methyl. However, when you're applying Blindside at label rate, the sulfentrazone rate going down is literally equivalent to 8 ounces per acre of dismiss for every half ounce of metsulfuron methyl going down.
Wow.
And I can tell you, Ryan, that I have never, ever not even in my craziest extra moments, ever applied 8 ounces of sulfentrazone to a lawn ever. I've never done it.
You don't know what you're missing, right?
And no,
Burn a repair
and on
man.
something like St. Augustine, do you know what 8 ounces of sulfentrazone per acre looks like?
Oh, I can take a pretty good guess. It's not good.
No, it fries the hell out of it. And for all of that damage, you don't get better weed control. It just unnecessarily stresses out the grass.
So what would your go-to be? And let's look at it in terms of if there's a pro product, right? And then the next thing would be roll your own, or if you had to buy a combo product, what would you be looking at?
What I'd be looking at instead is I'd actually be looking at this other pro product called Avenue South. And what Avenue South is that is low rate 2,4-D, low rate sulfentrazone, low rate dicamba, and there's also another sulfonylurea type herbicide called penoxylam combined in that bottle that is at a low rate as well, and it's designed not to stress or damage St. Augustine even in high heat or stressful conditions.
Hmm.
But because in my experience, blindside is just way too brutal in most cases.
It's funny because I know, like, corollary I'm going to look at it is like certainty when it was labeled for Kentucky bluegrass. And again, I don't have St. Augustine up here. I get, what the things are, but a lot of the combo products that are what I would call niche, right? Like that really are supposed to be like on, yeah, they're labeled for all all these certain grasses, but they're really only good on like one or maybe two.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think people get tripped up a lot of times. Like certainty, people thought it was the answer here for Poa trivialis, right? To take it out of cool
Right?
season turf and specifically Kentucky bluegrass. Well, it took maybe like 4 years, maybe 5, before Kentucky bluegrass was completely off the label because so many people were roasting shit, just roasting
Well,
stuff that it wasn't pretty.
yeah.
They couldn't handle it. They
No,
want
let
they
me
don't they just
guess
didn't want to
how.
mess with it anymore.
Let me guess how they did it. Were they applying it to non-irrigated Kentucky bluegrass under hot conditions, and they were probably way over label rate? Because I saw the
I can't say
instructions
for
for yeah,
What were the
it
instructions?
because the instructions for applying certainty to KBG was at, I believe, no more than a 1/4 ounce per acre. 1/4 ounce per acre, and that is like 1/4 what I drop on something like St. Augustine or Zoysia to kill nutsedge and Kailinga in it. Because you can go up to an ounce per acre on warm season grass, or even 2 ounces per acre, and it'll tolerate it. But on KBG, I remember the rate being 1/4 what you'd put on a warm season grass.
Yeah, you're right. It is a 1/4 ounce, and I used it a couple of times on irrigated, using the correct rate, and just saw I'll say this as I saw more inconsistent results with Poa trivialis control than I saw with desirable turf injury. How's that? Right. So it was almost like why am I going to even bother taking the risk of injuring the desirable turf? So now that's interesting. So back to the whole St. Augustine thing then. So Avenue South, but then what else? What else is out there as a roll your own if you had to do it that way?
If I had to do it myself, the way I'd approach it is I'd switch out sulfentrazone for carfentrazone instead, where I'd be dropping like up to 2 ounce per acre of quicksilver and a 1/4 ounce per acre of metsulfuron methyl. I keep it really low
Mm-hmm.
because I've also heard the bad stories about what happens to people when they overdose St. Augustine on metsulfuron methyl. It's not nice either because can you imagine yellow chlorotic St. Augustine that is now dying down to the dirt? And it's all because somebody hosed it down with a double or triple rate of MSM. The only grass I know of that will tolerate MSM overdose is Bermuda. Everything else, say aloha to it. Seriously.
So
yeah.
So basically, to kind of jump up from Justin's, $100 loss on his herbicide, he shows up in Florida, has no equipment, decides to rent a tiller and buy 3,000 square feet worth of sod, and texts me and says, "Hey, I'm getting 5 or 6 pallets worth of St. Aug delivered to install sod, and I'm going to install it alone." And so I told him, that I was willing to drive down and help him. So when I showed up like 5 minutes later, this is the sod that showed up. So they had obviously cut it at least the day before. He didn't get a fresh cut by any means, but Justin, what was the price per? What'd you pay per this compared to
What was
Florida or
it?
Hawaii?
We have the price quote in Hawaii.
Yeah, well, the price quote in Hawaii was it was like $10 a square foot.
$10 square foot. So even for 500 square foot, I just called. I can't remember what company it was. 500 square feet. They quoted me like more than $2,000 for stuff. That's just 500 square feet
Where in
Uh,
Hawaii?
in Hawaii,
in
yeah.
Hawaii.
Oh, okay. Ooh.
But I mean,
Okay.
for a little trailer, you're paying like $10. Like it's ridiculous. And then we get here. It was, and then here in Florida it was 5 pallets. I think we paid 11 or 1,200, and that was 2,500 square feet.
Okay. That
Big
sounds about
difference.
right because bulk wholesale price of sod here in Hawaii is literally $4 a square foot, be it Zoysia, St. Augustine, Citrus espalum, or hybrid Bermuda. You are going to pay $4 a square foot. And so if people think I'm a little bit anal about not killing grass, that is why. Because if I screw up, my little mistake will be $4 a square foot to fix.
Yeah,
That's just depressing.
that's crazy. And so Justin, what did we figure out if we? Because I mean, we took some breaks. We stopped for lunch, but it took us what, maybe 3.5 hours to lay all that.
Yeah, we got after it.
Yeah.
Well, we
So-
started at 9. We were done by at least 1.
And we stopped and ate lunch, and I took a nap, and so
John needed the breaks more than me.
yeah.
So much
wanted
for
to
that
keep
fresh
going.
cut, right? Who cares if you have fresh coat or taking a nap? For Christ.
He's all tuckered out from all that hard work. Here he is just
Oh,
carrying like
yes.
10 bundles. I have the wheelbarrow. I'm like, you want to? He's thinking carrying it's easier than wheelbarrowing it. And then he uses the wheelbarrow, then he doesn't give it up.
Hey, I
Out there
offered. You said no,
engineering.
so I didn't ask again. So, so I left you with a couple products. I left you with the Vigor and the Strongor, right? So you've been throwing the Vigor down through the hose and spray, or dial and
Yes.
spray, or whatever.
Yep.
How much?
Like
How much of
22
that are you doing?
ounces.
How much?
22 ounces for the 2,500 square feet. I do that every 2 weeks.
And so
Nice.
you've done 2 or 3 treatments of that.
Just 2. My third one will be this weekend.
And so we went from sod that looked like this. If I can find it now. Here, hold on one second. Somehow I accidentally deleted it because I'm smart.
Wow. Boo.
Can't find it?
No, here it is. So we went from that to, bear with me, I got like 100 inputs here that I'm trying to balance, to this.
Uh-huh.
So
Wow.
quite the improvement in just a month, basically.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So have you
Shoot, like
have
even
you
after like 2 weeks, just just putting that first application down, just watering it, just really popped back to life too. Just within a couple weeks.
That
have
that
you
is an impressive recovery.
yeah
Impressive.
have you applied any of the silica that I left you with, the Strongor?
Not yet. I'm saving that for a special occasion.
Okay, all right.
Wow. You're gonna, waiting for that stuff to stand up straight. I mean, it's like Viagra for your turf. So, yeah, save it.
That's what John told me.
So you need it.
I think that was the
I
exact
think
phrase I used to describe it.
Oh, see, great
Mhm.
minds think alike.
All right, you guys talked me into it. I'll put some down this weekend.
Yeah, it's special.
yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah. Go ahead and do it. And I actually have less misgivings about putting silica on St. Augustine than I do on, say, Zoysia,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
what the Strongor will probably do for you, especially if you get into that monsoon period in Florida, is that increased silica will help toughen up the St. Augustine so that it's less susceptible to diseases.
Okay.
So I'd probably use it to get your grass to be like really alpha, because are you in the monsoon area of Florida where from June
Uh,
until October it just rains every day?
honestly,
Are
couldn't
you
even
in
tell
that
you.
area?
I mean,
Mm,
I've been there
Give
long
him
enough.
another
I'm in.
month to figure it out, Ray.
okay. Yeah,
I'm
because
in the northwest corner, so
no, then you're not in the bad area. If you're not in the
okay.
bad area at all, because if you are like in the southern half of Florida, like where the lawn care nut is, that's the shitty part of Florida to be in. That's the shitty part,
Okay.
because from June till October it rains every single day, and the rain comes as a flash flood.
I don't need that.
Nope, you don't need
So
it.
we had somebody say about tilling, right? Is tilling a good idea? I'll give my 2 cents first, but generally speaking, no, it's not a good idea. The reason is that when you go back out there and try to grade things out, right? Like especially if you go down more than say, like I'm okay with scratching up the surface, something like that, like an inch, something like that. Correct minor grade issues, whatever. But when you start getting down deeper than that, you're gonna have settling. Like there's just no two ways about it unless you have some serious equipment, professional equipment to get yourself graded and proof rolled and back on, back on grade and know that it's not going to move, because otherwise that's when you start getting bird bass and things like that. So Ray, if you I don't know what you think, but it's kind of I'd say 95% of the time it's not a good idea.
Okay. I actually totally agree with you in that I don't like to see yards tilled up for multiple reasons. Reason number one is a grade issue. Reason number two is it never fails that the deep tillage then wakes up previously dormant nutsedge and perennial broadleaf weeds. It just wakes it all up, because I have people that I work for that they swear to me up and down that all these years their lawn was clean. They had no nutgrass, they had no broadleaf weeds in it, and then they get their brand new, zoysia or whatever installed, and then now they have epic amounts of nutsedge and other weeds. And what caused that was tilling. Oh, and they're also going to need a major sand cap, because now their lawn has settled and it is unmowable. It is literally unmowable. You can't mow it because it's more like the surface of the moon rather than a flat surface.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
definitely
hate
something.
tilling too.
That's
Justin
definitely
hates it
something
now,
if you're growing
too.
from Sprigs. Sprigs
I
are
had fun.
solid, but especially the lower cut, it's it's a non-starter. I mean, you might be able to get away with it on higher cut and cool season, but you better know what you're doing before you get in there and just say, "Ah, this is this is what's best," because farmers do it when they plant their fields. Well, one, you're probably not a farmer, and two, that's a lawn, not like a forage field or
It's
a row
a
crop.
Yeah, it's a lawn, not a cornfield, right? So
Depending on where you live.
yeah. But because I actually had experience putting down Seashore paspalum sprigs on a lawn that had to have irrigation and a drainage system installed, Ryan. But you know what? I ordered after all of that disruption of the soil. I then told my property owner to water and keep watering. And when he stops watering, let it dry out for a day, roll it, start watering. And then what you do is you roll it, water it, roll it, water it, and keep doing that over. I want to say he literally did that for the next month.
A whole
And
month.
so by
That's
the
that's
time,
how bad it was.
yeah, that's how bad it was. But here's the thing, is when we were done with all of that and I got the Seashore paspalum sprigs down and grew them in, I was able to put my mower on that lawn without scalping. And my first cut was like at 3/8 inch.
I'd say what he did work then. That was, gosh, a whole month of that though. Just that's awful. And you could have avoided it too.
Yeah.
Like that's the like the clincher, right? Is
Yeah.
that all that could have been avoided by just simply remove the grass, right, and then start there, because there's other ways to. There's other ways that you can create that pore space in there, right? If you needed to, if you really needed to. But again, I always question whether that's necessary or not. You can get, I mean, especially on cool season, you get it to catch just fine. And heck, on Sprigs, you can do just the same, right? It's gonna take over and do what it's supposed to do. Either tack down if it's got stolons, or start pushing rhizomes and roots down. And you don't need to do that. That's, again, creating more problems than it's worth, and adding an extra step, right? A very, very labor intensive step too.
Right. Well, the only reason why I had to go through all of that rolling and watering is because his whole property was literally, 12-inch deep trenches everywhere. So I couldn't, get out of doing that and then resettling his ground. But if somebody has existing irrigation and they don't have any kind of major grade issues and they don't need to install drainage, I tell them, don't till. Do not till. Whatever
So
you do, no tilling.
Are you saying Justin shouldn't till his front yard when he switches it over to Zoysia?
Do not. Do not.
Doesn't
Yeah,
sound
do
very
not
fun.
till that, because with Zoysia, keeping it flat is even more critical, because if you put down Zoysia, that's when you get your greens mower.
That's right.
And
So
you can't have it all lumpy like a cornfield.
Yeah.
It has to be flat.
Yep.
And
Justin,
I'm
do
gonna
you
show you
know,
something, Ray.
was there a
Go
tree in
ahead.
that circle in front of your door? Do you know what was there before?
I have no idea. I don't think there was. These just
It's
crop circles.
quite the ring, yeah.
I have no idea what it is.
fairy ring. That looks like either a fairy ring or some kind of a circular concrete structure. I mean, that's my only guess as to why there's a circle of
Yeah.
brown grass.
It very well could be. I mean, it's a perfect circle, so.
Mm-hmm.
Here you go, Ray. J Pink's gonna show something from this week. One of the I had a 5%er here that I had to till up after removing all the grass. You'll appreciate this. But we didn't mess around. Like, this wasn't like, your grandpa's Troy built tiller out there causing problems here. Go ahead and send it there, J Pink. Oh, we lost the audio.
No, here it is.
8 foot wide, 6 inches deep in one pass. Done. So then that right there, this is a complete laser grade on a football field. So this will actually get laser graded. We'll proof roll it. We'll scratch up the surface one more time. We'll water the hell out of it. After we do that, we'll laser grade again, right? Proof roll it, and then we should be locked in. It should be good to go. But there's just too many humps, bumps, imperfections here that to laser grade it, we weren't going to be able to go up, right? We weren't going to be able to lift up because everything's balanced. Like there's enough soil there to grade everything out. So just a matter of manipulating the soil so that we could go ahead and do a proper laser grade. So those are the 5%ers. So you don't have to necessarily laser grade in those situations, but if you're going to move soil like that, the reason should be to change grade, right? And then recompact as you go before
Mm-hmm.
putting grass on the ground. But you ought to get one of those, Ray.
Well, actually, what I do to the lawns that do get tilled is I get the heaviest possible roller I can get my hands on. I don't care if it's even one of those portable construction rollers like what they use for asphalt.
Oh yeah, those are great.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Because here's my nightmare lawn. And this is a real pisser offer for me. The person installing the sod rolled the ground when it was still dry.
Yeah,
Okay?
that's pissing
He
in the
has
wind.
this dry dirt and he fills that what is that 250 pound when it's full of water roller,
Yeah.
and he just runs it across when it's dry. And some of these clown shows don't even fill the roller up with water. The other people that piss
Again,
me off are the
not doing
ones that are the ones that spend hours raking the dirt dry, and it's like, oh, now it's perfectly graded. Not, because let me tell you what happens the second somebody starts watering in to grow in their sod or their sprigs or their plugs. That lawn turns into the surface of the moon, and it is no longer mowable. It's a disaster.
So the question was, do you what can you do on native soil to prep for sprigs? I think that was it.
Okay.
So you go ahead.
Okay. Sprigs. All you do is you just make sure that your existing grade is where you want it. And then you put your sprigs down, and then you cap it or top it with up to a half an inch of sand. And then you start watering. Simple as that.
And you keep top dressing after that. Like not
Yeah,
daily
and
or
you
anything, but yeah.
yeah, you just keep on throwing down like quarter inch worth of sand every couple of weeks during the growing. And oh, by the way, that is how they deal with paspalum or Bermuda sprigs on golf greens. They put it onto
Say that
sand,
again?
top it with. That's how they.
Oh, okay.
That's how we do, paspalum or Bermuda sprigs on greens here in Hawaii. Is we lay it down on top of the sand, top it with sand, and then during the growing, you keep on sanding it to make sure that it stays flat.
Yeah.
Easy.
Same. So here relative few that I've done compared to you, the soil one is tricky because, like you said, you got to be on grade, and if you're not, that becomes a unmowable mess pretty quickly. But if you can, the sand cap is by far the best way to do it. Now you talked about a half an inch. We're building a field. If we're going to do a sand cap, it's going to be like 2 inches to start, sprig it of that, top dress
Mhm.
over it, and then go up from there. I realize that people can't always do that, can't have that type of volume, right, or handle that type of volume of sand initially. But even a half inch to start is far better than worrying about the imperfections that might come when you go to start mowing that stuff. And again, that's one of the most critical steps to establishing is going to be getting a mower on there just as quickly as you can to start getting that stuff to spread laterally. So in my experience, again, far more limited in that particular realm than yours, is that yeah, you gotta use the sand and use it to your advantage. So
Yeah,
buy a top
make
dresser for
friends
$250.
with the sand. Yeah, yeah, make friends with sand. I mean, because even on smaller areas where you're spreading sand, like say with shovels or by, tossing it out of a wheelbarrow by hand, sand is a much more pleasant and easy thing to work with, because here's the other dumpster fires that I've seen: topping sprigs with soil. Please don't.
What? Why?
Please don't, because the soil will then settle unevenly. And in addition to it settling unevenly, if it is dry enough to spread, half of it is blowing away and irritating everybody downwind of you. It's a mess versus having something like sand.
So
Gosh,
there's
that's
a
awful.
question in the chat, and I'll defer to Ray and Ryan, your judgment on this. Ryan asks, so I live in the monsoon area of Florida. How would you use Strongor?
Use what?
Strongor, the silica product that Ryan Norris sells.
I'll let Ray go first.
What I'd be using that when I'd be using it is as a pre, you know, pre-monsoon season supplement for the turf grass. And I assume that you're talking about St. Augustine.
Yeah, we'll have to wait for Ryan to confirm that. The other question
Yeah.
I'd have for you two, as far as Justin, your front yard, what's your goals with the front yard?
Well, just Bermuda right now. I guess got the weeds taken care of. That was a big thing. It was weed central there. And then we put some little weed begone on that, and it's really you can tell that Bermuda is really taking over the bare spots. I say overall, I don't know, probably not do too much to it. Just try to become a Bermuda guy too. Really, just see what the limits are on that, and learn a new type of turf. Really, I
Because basically, you've only
don't really
had
hang out in my front yard, so
you've basically had the most experience with St. Aug then, between Hawaii and Texas.
yes, not so much Texas. Should probably go back and apologize to that
Go tell
Well,
that lawn you're sorry for how you abused it.
one. Yes, neglected and abused.
So what are you using for equipment now? You've got we were talking a little in the pre-show. You've got the Ego battery rotary mower. Um,
Yep.
do you have an edger or anything like that? What else you got?
No edger. I guess you could. We got the old Black and Decker special, cordless, that does awesome. And then we
Those are
got
rotary
the
scissors.
old. Then what? We got the Ego blower and the Ego trimmer, weed trimmer. So just basic stuff.
So what's the lowest that Ego mower can go? Do you know? Offhand?
Um, I have no idea. I think it's just under an inch.
Yeah. I want to say like an inch and a half, I think.
That's
Yeah.
really all the lower it goes, huh?
Yeah, inch
Oh,
and a half is the lowest it goes.
Damn.
however, however,
Gotta be a life
trying
hack
to
here, right?
trying to make a rotary mower mow at less than 2 inches on something like Bermuda is not pretty, because what happens when you try to make a rotary mower mow low on Bermuda is that it just starts to catch on the stolons and pull them out of the ground, and then open up the turf to weeds, because you're going to be constantly thinning the lawn rather than encouraging good growth.
Uh,
So, so, so there. Mhm.
Ryan, what's this that you sent me?
Oh yeah, this was the top dressing hack if you want to get sand out real quick. If you want to go like deep and heavy and you don't want to mess around with it, you should have some of these trucks around in your area, right? The slinger truck. Ray, I don't know if you have these on the,
The conveyor
but
belt.
yep. And this guy's
No,
running it.
we don't actually have them. We don't actually have these. And actually, wait a minute, we do. But then you know those guys, they won't do soil or sand. They'll only do
Oh, they'll
rock.
do sand. No, in
Not
your area,
not
yeah, here they'll do sand.
in my area. They won't do it, and so the only thing that I've got is a couple of friends and wheelbarrows and shovels.
Oh man, that's awful.
It's
That
junk.
is
It's
awful.
just junk. It's junk. I mean,
So, Justin, with Ray here and Ryan here, I mean, Matt is MIA. I guess he, doesn't care about you.
It's messed
But
up. I didn't meet the guy, and he doesn't even like me.
what do you have any questions that you need some answers on as far as getting that front yard whipped into shape? Or do you kind of have an idea of what direction you need to go?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess just hide a cut, really. What would promote the best growth? And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know. There's plenty of guys, plenty of information out there that I've already kind of looked into. I definitely need a dethatch. That is quite a problem. But yeah, this thing has not been taken care of.
Do you know, are there any
So you
sprinkler
got
heads up front?
What's that?
Are there any sprinkler heads up front? I know that you've got some in the back. Do you know if there's any up front?
Yeah, no, yeah, everything is getting water, so those things haven't been ran in a long time either. That was quite the little project getting those all fixed up too. So yeah, everything's getting water, everything's good to go. I mean, it's if you were to come back, John, you would see how much better it looks. Honestly, I mean, it's thickening up already with just a little water and just a little fertilizer that I did end up throwing on.
Well, yeah, I can
But
tell in this picture back towards closer to where your garage starts there with the can. That already
yep,
looks 100% better than what it did before. Um,
yeah,
so yeah, that is already an improvement. Especially this side looks like it's filled in quite a bit too.
yeah. No, because yeah, it was just weed, just broadleaf weeds everywhere. I should have went over to the neighbors, took pictures of his yard, but I didn't want to be that creeper We don't even know each other, and I'm taking pictures of his lawn. But yeah, because it was just really thin, and I tell you what, just watering and just a little fertilizer, that Bermuda, man, it just takes over. It's awesome.
Did
That it
you,
is.
for that fertilizer on the Bermuda, you said you used up everything that kind of showed up left over from Hawaii?
Yeah, I had like half bags used for my Hawaii lawn that I bought 3 years ago that never used because I only had 500 square feet. Basically, using a coffee cup full of fertilizer to fertilize that. So yeah, we whipped up a special concoction. What was that? I had a bag of Milorganite, some iron. What was it? It was like a 10.
Just a bunch of random stuff to
Just a bunch of random
use up.
stuff, and it's out there getting eaten up.
What about you guys? Do you have any questions on Justin's front yard? Any advice for him with knowing that he's got that rotary mower that won't go lower than 1.5 inches?
Think about a real mower, man. For real, it will change everything.
We'll send
It will
timestamps
change
to
everything.
Julie.
Well, I'm on
Yeah.
eBay. I'm waiting for the good deal to come across, or just
Yeah.
in my area in
Because
general.
because fact of the matter is that when I see Bermuda, where it is not being taken care of with a real mower, my immediate impulse is to get rid of that Bermuda and replace it with St. Augustine. Either you take care of it the right way or don't have it at all.
Right.
I mean, I feel like if you have Bermuda that is not common Bermuda that is not being mowed at 3/4 inch or a 1/2 inch with a reel, it just has no earthly business even being there. Unless you're growing it for hay or forage. But in a lawn, trying to keep Bermuda high just doesn't do the grass justice. It doesn't, make the grass look good. And this is why a lot of the cool season people call it Bermuda weed, because they only see it as that straggly, ratty looking, nasty stuff because it's being mowed above 2 inches tall.
Not good.
So, yeah, not good, right? I mean, true or false, Ryan? Doesn't Bermuda look gross at like the 2.5 to 4 inch height of cut that you use on a cool season grass?
Oh,
Does it not look
yeah.
gross?
It looks about as good as bent grass does at that height.
Looks bad, right?
It doesn't
But-
look good. Doesn't feel good.
but-
Nothing. There's nothing about it.
But say you take that same Bermuda down to like 3/4 inch, 5/8 inch, or even 1/2 inch with a reel, and you maintain it that way, then that's a different grass, isn't it?
Totally, and I think that's the point, is that matching your height of cut and your to the texture of your grass, right? So texture of Bermuda grass, like there are some that have been bred here recently, some newer varieties that do okay as a rotary mode 2-inch, say, lawn height turf, but those are few and far between. Those are not nearly what's being pushed out now in a lot of places, and so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you just have to match up again, height of cut with texture, and texture of bent grass, texture of Bermuda grass dictates that it needs to be definitely sub inch, right, to really be awesome. Now you can be inch and a half on Bermuda grass, be fine, but that's really like its wheelhouse, right, is sub 1 inch. And same with bent grass.
Yes. Yeah.
Even 1 inch on bent grass is, yeah.
No. No, I can't imagine that doing well. I mean, that's just like you telling me 1 inch zoysia or 1 inch seashore paspalum. I'm going to say no.
Oh God, no, no. That's
Yeah.
not going to work for
So
anybody.
yeah. So this Ryan in the monsoon area of Florida has Celebration Bermuda. Okay, Celebration Bermuda basically, I don't see that as needing a lot of supplements, products, etc. You just maintain your soil pH, NP and K, and call it good. Just call it good, because on Celebration Bermuda, what I know about that grass is that as long as it gets its sun, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and it's growing in a pH 6.5 to 7 soil, it's essentially a almost bulletproof grass for all intents and purposes. Celebration is hard to mess up. In fact, if I had my rathers, the people that currently get Tifway 419 as their sod for their front lawns would be better served by having Celebration put down instead.
Hmm.
Because I don't like 419. I really don't like it.
Oh, hell. Yeah, it's again. There's limited experience I'm talking from, but it does leave a lot to be desired now compared to uh newer varieties, right? And the same thing we see up here with uh talking about bent grass, but that's kind of a whole different story for people in cool season country. But the genetic advances we've seen in all these grasses is such that the stuff that's even 15 or 20 years old is no longer even the standard, right? Like that's not even it's you see it everywhere, but just because it's everywhere doesn't necessarily mean it's the standard anymore. And so I think that that evolution in how fast that stuff is moving now is going to continue to be pretty rapid, to the point that I mean you're seeing a lot of it go away. You're seeing at least in the southeastern United States, you're seeing zoysia being favored and centipede being favored, and getting rid of what is considered by the commodity club, right? The people that want to plant cheap green grass in the form of sod, right, are choosing other grasses because it's easier in terms of not having to mess with it, right? It's easier to say that, oh, it's low maintenance, or it's this, or it's that. There's more marketable features versus good old tried and true Bermuda, right? That hard to kill. So I don't know. It'll be
Hard to
interesting to see how
kill.
that. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the marketplace here over the next
Mhm.
5-10 years, especially.
Hey,
Because
Ryan, can you do me a favor real quick? Just try to move that mic a little closer to you. There's a couple people in the chat saying that they are having problems, but I got you jammed into my eardrums, so I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
There we go.
How's that?
Yep, that's a little better.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, because 419 does there's three minuses in my experience with 419: disease resistance, uh, tolerance of cool weather, and shade tolerance. All three are like big considerations as far as what I consider necessary traits in a turf grass. And if I don't have those traits, then that grass is like very, low tier. I don't care what it looks like. It can look like the most perfect grass in the world, but if it is not disease resistant, if it can't deal with shade, and if it does the wimp thing when temperatures go below 75 degrees in the daytime here, next. And that's why, for example, I'm not a fan of Zoysia either. Or
You hear that?
Paspalum.
You hear that, Justin? No Zoysia.
Damn.
Or actually,
The what then?
Bermuda. Improved Bermuda.
All right.
I can't till and I can't get Zoysia. What can I do?
Sod or Sprig, something like Tahoma 31 or Celebration or even Tiff Grand.
Mm.
All right. So, do you guys have any other questions for Justin? Any other tips for Justin before we wrap it up tonight?
Hey,
Since Matt
keep
doesn't
going
want
to
to talk to Justin, he's driving.
I'll let
I
it
would just
slip this
say
time.
keep traveling around the country and fixing up patches of grass. You're like the Johnny Appleseed of warm season turf. So thank you.
Just one lawn at a time, baby. That's what I'm here for.
We'll go out on a couple of the pictures here of his backyard. Ray, any other tips for Justin other than don't do Zoysia and buy a real mower?
None whatsoever. I mean, I think he's doing very well. I mean, this is just anybody that speaks badly of Saint Augustine needs to have another look at these various pictures, because if I didn't know better, I'd say that this is some pretty nice grass.
He has been fixing it up one lawn at a time, from this kind of garbage to this kind of garbage.
Awesome.
All right. Well, even if we don't have Matt, we're gonna do a show after the show. We'll throw the link in the Dirty Deeds there here in a little bit. So if you remember, watch for that. It'll be there for 10 minutes. I think Justin's gonna hang around for that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will see you guys next week. There it is. Awesome. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for the point. That's what I was looking for.